Hey, what's up? We're back. We're gonna talk about Durant now, right? Or we're talking about the Thunder
We could talk about the Thunder more so, I guess.
because Durant has been making news, right?
Yeah,
This is his
he
41st game,
He surpassed the Michael Jordan record.
25 points in a row.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, on one side, I'm just thinking, whatever, right? Like, I don't care about that stuff that much because, like, Will Chamberlain has like 108 games in a row.
Right.
But that's the 60s.
I guess here's the better question is how big of a deal is it? Is it a big deal at all? Does it even really matter?
I think the more I think about it, it is a pretty big deal because you think of all the great scorers in the league. Like Kobe Bryant never did it.
Right.
Wow, Kobe shoots. That guy shoots. Allen Iverson shoots.
I was gonna say Iverson. Go
Even
back
like
and think about
Tracy
the volume
McGrady.
scorers.
Tracy McGrady shoots a lot. Like I'm thinking, wow, like LeBron never didn't do it. Like Dwayne Wade, Melo, like a lot of these guys that play in the league, and even like
Go-to scorers.
like Shaq didn't do it.
You know,
like think about 25 or more, not 30 or more, but 25 or more. Wow, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, those are like probably the top 3 scorers of that era.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the LeBron, the Dwayne Wade, the Carmelo Anthony. There's that era, and then wow, it's Durant. So from Jordan to Durant, there's a lot of great players in those two eras.
In between, and he wouldn't even. We don't really. I don't want to say appreciate Durant, but I would say that he has always been sort of a second superstar to LeBron. You know what I mean? Nobody thinks of Kevin Durant ahead of LeBron. People that don't follow basketball.
Some do.
I don't know that he has the same sort of appeal that LeBron does, and I don't know if that's marketing or overall skill set or whatnot. But it just he's not. When people think of the face of the league, they automatically go to LeBron James. I would imagine, or maybe even Kobe. I don't know at this point, but I would imagine it would be either LeBron James or Kobe.
I think Durant is either the second or third guy on that list.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, but you know what though? He did something now that neither one of those guys did.
Which is incredible.
Now,
incredible.
LeBron James would be, the face on the mountain, right? Speaking about the Mount Rushmore of of the last, 15 years. Kevin Durant wouldn't necessarily be, you wouldn't make the argument that he could be. The thing is, you wouldn't make the argument that he could be better than LeBron at this point.
Some do. I agree. I agree. I agree with you.
You could make the argument, but it's not a real. It's like a passing argument. It's an argument just for the sake of arguing. That like realistically.
No, LeBron is
LeBron has the championships to back it up. And now the question is, does that change if the Thunder start winning championships?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes,
100%.
that changes. Yeah, but you got to win it first.
So what's holding them back? What's the difference? Why is LeBron able to get over this hump and not Kevin Durant?
Okay, so I guess we're moving on from the Durant. How significant?
It's all a part of it, right? Because as good as this is, who's going to win the MVP this year?
Well, to me, it's Durant.
To you, it's Durant. To me, probably it's Durant. But again, who's going to win the MVP this year?
I think it's Durant.
Really? I don't think so. I bet it's still going to be LeBron James.
But the Thunder have a better record than the Heat.
Maybe.
And they're not even the best team in the league. The Spurs are the best team in the league, record-wise.
Yeah.
Right? So he has arguably better numbers. His numbers are very comparable.
Yeah.
Like points and rebounds and assists, especially the assist point part. He has averaged more than 5 assists now.
Yeah.
So to average 32 and 7 rebounds and 5 assists, that's very comparable to what LeBron did, right? Because LeBron statistically is having a down year.
Yeah.
So for him, which is still amazing, he's averaging 26, 27, 8 and 7 or something like that. But I think that I for sure Durant's winning MVP because the team is he didn't have Russell for a while, and obviously LeBron didn't have Wade, but Wade to me hasn't been a top 10 player in a while. That's my opinion. I think he's the top 10 talent, but doesn't mean he's a top 10 player. Russell is arguably top 5 player. arguably.
Nah, I don't know that you would argue that. Okay.
Okay, well, you.
He's a very good. He's a difference making player.
I think he's more than that, in my opinion. In my opinion, he's more than that.
Fair enough.
Because, like, okay, let's go him and Harden. Who's better?
Of Westbrook or Harden?
and Harden. Westbrook and Curry. Westbrook and Love or Blake.
I think that I'm choosing everybody. I think I'm choosing the other guy in every single one of those scenarios. Actually,
really?
Yeah. And I think Westbrook is really good. I just don't know. We've seen him many times. Like, for the first little bit, you were wondering what kind of it was. Is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard?
Okay.
What is he?
Right.
He's taking lots of shots. Well, Kevin Durant is the guy supposed to be taking shots. Right. All those guys that you named, their roles are way more clearly defined. Where at some points, Russell Westbrook, he is asked to be the shooter. He's asked to be the point guard.
By the way, before you continue, he is the reason why I don't think Durant is going to win a championship. It is Russell Westbrook. Even though I think he's arguably a top 5 talent.
Okay. Well, then what if Durant played with any of these players, other players that you named? Do you think that he would get a championship if he played with, Steph Curry?
Yes.
But Kevin Love, Blake Griffin?
I would say yes, just because I think they would defer.
Yeah, I think so too.
But here's the thing. This is what I think. Mm-hmm. Like, I know what you're saying about Russell.
And I would have chosen, just as well, I would have chosen Harden over Westbrook as well in that situation.
Here's the thing, though. I think that Russell is a guy, assuming he stays healthy, and whenever he's played, he looks at least healthy. Like, despite his shooting percentages, which aren't that bad, he's shooting 45, which isn't that bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
But that actually
despite
seems
the fact
to be a little high as well, on the higher percentage-wise for how he shoots.
Yeah, because he takes a lot of bad shots. He shoots 45. He shoots 45% this year with the bad knee and everything. Yeah. Everything, right? He to me is a guy who plays both sides of the ball really well.
Yeah.
Okay, where you look at Tony Parker, you look at Chris Paul, you look at, I'm not going to put Darren Williams, but let's say, I don't know, who's the other point guards? Like Kyrie, Rondo, John Wall, whoever you want to say is the top point guard. Okay, even if you want to just like put Dragic, they all don't want to defend Westbrook.
Yeah.
All of them are like, oh shit, I got to defend Westbrook tonight.
Yeah.
That's the one guy Tony Parker says, like, yeah, he's really tough. It's Steph Curry in an interview with Grantland. I remember this. Who are the 2 toughest guys you have to guard? One is Tony Parker because of the way he uses screens, he never stops moving. And the other is Russell Westbrook. Mm-hmm. Russell Westbrook is just a different animal. I think in athletics, like in all sports, it's transparent. If you have these skills, like speed is hard to defend, size is hard to defend, but if you have both of those and you combine it, a lot of times you can have like athleticism, strength, and it combines into power. And to me, LeBron's a power player, right? Shaq was a power player. Dwight used to be a power player. I don't know what he is now. Westbrook is a power guard. He's so strong and athletic and explosive. Steph Curry can't guard him. Tony Parker can't guard him. All these guys can't, but he can guard them. Yeah. So I think that Steph is the one weakness is his defense. Harden can D up, but hasn't been paying attention to it that much. Right. Harden isn't D'ing up. Mm-hmm. Just reaching. I hate it when people reach. And I think that I don't know if Westbrook is for sure better than Kevin Love. I would say he is. Again, that's a two-way thing. Right. So to me, it's not about whether he's very talented or not. Yeah. I think he's more talented than all those guys I named. I just think that he's not, like, the chemistry, not chemistry, but the fit.
Also, keep in mind the scope of what we're talking. We're talking about how well Kevin Durant can do because of these people around him.
Right.
Right? And whether or not Russell Westbrook is actually maybe stymieing his actual, ascension to being the best player in the league, Because I'm still kind of I don't know. I would still probably say LeBron wins the MVP, even though Russell Westbrook has looked since he's come back. Russell Westbrook has looked good playing with Durant, and I think Durant, because he's elevated his game, he's actually made Russell Westbrook look better. Right?
Maybe
this season.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right. That being said, I don't know that his style of play is conducive towards helping Durant get to that next level.
Pretty much agree on that, right? That
that Russell Westbrook is
probably be the reason why Durant doesn't win a championship.
I think that there's a mentality that goes in, and I think that everybody wants to believe that they're the best player, and other people actually live like they're the best. But no one will say that Russell Westbrook is the best player on
nobody.
The Thunder. No one.
Right.
And ultimately, I think the mental part of the game is the stuff that Russell Westbrook struggles with, and I think that if he were put in another situation, Oh, here's a good argument. Let's say he gets traded to the Raptors.
Oh my god!
Right? Would that be great?
I trade everybody for Russell Westbrook
for sure.
So,
would that help make the Raptors that much better of a team having Russell Westbrook on them? Oh yeah. What did you say? Without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
this is what I'm going to say. Yeah. There are people who are going to say, well, Russell went out last year and Durant lost 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
To the Grizzlies in the playoffs. So where does that put Kevin Durant then, right? Because then it's like, well, clearly, I'm pretty sure the Thunder would have beat the Grizzlies if they had Russell Westbrook. So there's both sides. It's like he didn't make the finals because Russell was out. If you can't beat the Grizzlies, who got swept by the Spurs and who the Spurs lost to the Heat, then how great is Kevin Durant?
Yep.
Right? So, this is what I'll think. This is what I say, that I don't think the other team, the other guys showed up. I don't think Ibaka showed up. I think a lot of the other guys weren't good. Now, everyone's a little bit better, right? Aside from Derek Fisher. I think Jeremy Lamb's a little better. I think Reggie Jackson's way better. Yeah. I think that, Steven Adams adds another element. I think that Ibaka has played much better now. And I think adding Russell, as long as he doesn't make bad decisions.
No Kendrick Perkins mentioned there at all?
Look, I know he can defend. He sets screens, but you should want more for $10 million.
Right, of course,
that's what I think. I just think that there is that argument that what did Kevin Durant do without Russell? I mean, for another fact, what did Kevin Durant do without Russell and James Harden?
Yeah,
never made the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Never made the finals. So I don't know. Look, this is what I think. I think that Durant has gone to the next level.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would happen again, but then again I didn't think it would happen the first time. So I don't know where I stand on that. I think that Russell to me again is an arguably top 5 player, right? Because of what he does on both sides of the floor and how much of a game changer he is. Like all the guys we name are game changers, but Russell was a game changer on the level of maybe 5 guys. Right?
Okay.
Like how you can alter a game, swing momentum to your side. Like Russell would get a couple steals, a couple dunks, and then he's on fire.
Yeah.
And then it's so hard to play that team with Durant and other guys spacing out. So I just think that his value to that team is just so big. However, I've seen him take a lot of, because he has the mentality that there's almost 2 alpha dogs on one team, like the Kobe Shaq situation.
Yeah.
Not on that level, but
it doesn't seem like there's this. It's the same because
they don't hate each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but there is that mentality that when Shaq and Kobe played, they both believed that they were the best player.
Yeah,
that was clear. They both believed that they would be a number 1 player. We all knew they would be, but to me, on that team, it was Shaq when they won the 3 championships.
Yeah.
Afterwards, it's debatable, right? But right now, Russell looks at himself like I'm the man. I think that's how he plays. Which on one hand is great because it's led to his all success, but on the other hand it's like, you got this guy who broke Jordan's record. Why? Just defer to him in the 4th quarter. Do all your other stuff in quarter 1, maybe quarter 2, the 3rd quarter. But 4th quarter, closing time, give it to Durant. The guy shoots 40-something% from 3, shoots 50-something% from the field, and he shoots 90% from the line. Give it to him. You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Give it to him. Russell's really good. He's not better than Durant. And I think that is the thing that will hold him back. Even though Russell is so good and will help them get there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Would I have rather have kept James Harden? Not at that time. I would have kept James Harden. I would have traded Ibaka. I don't know if I would trade Ibaka either because his defensive value is so important.
So important.
But James Harden was that glue between Russell and Durant to me, who could be like a chameleon. If you need him to be a spot-up shooter, he can do that. You need him to slash, he can do that. You need him to be a playmaker, he can do that.
This is why he was the choice to me instead of Russell.
I don't know that though. See, to me, everyone knew Russell was the second best player, right?
Right, of course.
Nobody's thought that James Harden was better than Russell.
No. It's that I don't know that you can tell an alpha dog that wants to be the alpha dog to be the beta dog for however long. And I think that he'll do it for and obviously the Thunder have had success while he's done that. I just don't know that Russell Westbrook is the player to help Durant elevate his game to be the number one player. Right, to be the unquestioned or is LeBron or Kevin Durant better? Because up until this point, or even at this point to a certain degree, it's still kind of it's LeBron.
Yeah.
Right. It seems like what's separating them is the championships, right?
Right, and even more so than that, it's like you look at LeBron. He's gone to the finals 4 times. Yeah. And one time he got there on his own. Durant never got there on his own. Now, I know he's in a tougher conference, so I'll give him somewhat of a pass on that. Yeah. But LeBron, if this is the Olympics, he's got 2 gold medals and 2 silver medals. Durant's got 1 silver medal. That doesn't compare.
Yeah.
So it's not even just championships. It's like even getting there to a shot to have the championship.
Right.
And MVPs. LeBron's got 4, Durant's got 0. He's got the edge on both the regular season and the postseason. So LeBron, hit the floor running out as a rookie out of high school. Durant didn't. They're just, if you look at the entire career, there's a lot of things that it's LeBron. LeBron was arguably a defensive player of the year for 2 years.
Yeah.
He was in the top 5, top 3 voting. I don't see Durant's name there. I don't know. To me, LeBron's dominance has been so clear. That Durant only now going crazy. Doing the 51 point against the Raptors, doing all these things. Breaking MJ's record now because he's playing out of his mind. He can. Somewhat argued that he's better.
That's realistically what it's taken, right?
Yeah.
I guess that goes to show you how much of a stronghold LeBron has on the current day of basketball. That it's taken literally Kevin Durant breaking a Michael Jordan record for people to start recognizing the fact that, hey, maybe we're witnessing something special other than LeBron, right? Though, what do you think would work out best for Durant? Would you think it would be better leaving the Thunder, going to a different team?
Oh, we're having this conversation.
I mean, why not? We're talking about Durant as a whole, I guess.
So you're asking me as the owner or Sam Presti or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously for me, I'll just backtrack and say that if I was the owner, I'd pay James Harden. I'd bite the bullet. I don't care what the luxury tax is.
Wait. Let's say hypothetically now, right? This season ends, and this isn't out of the realm of possibility. This is another disappointing postseason for the Thunder.
Do they make the finals at least?
We'll say they don't make the finals.
Oh.
They make the conference finals, and then they lose to whomever in the conference
Spurs finals. Clippers. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The Spurs because the Spurs have their number, and the Clippers because maybe the Clippers get have a really good series.
I don't know. Do the Spurs have their number? Because they lost every game in the regular season versus the Thunder.
In the playoffs, we'll say they have so far from what we've seen, right? How do you approach this offseason? Do you still keep that Thunder team together? Do you think about firing Brooks? Do you think about trading Ibaka? Do you now, do they still have the amnesty? Could they still amnesty Perkins if they want to?
Yeah, they can amnesty Perkins. Here's the thing. It's so tough because, like I said, I wouldn't have traded Harden. I know, whatever, because, when you offend or you go past the threshold, every year you go past it, you pay more and more. So the Heat pay not just double what you're over the tax by. If you're over 10 million, you pay 20 million tax. Now it's triple. And in year 4, it keeps increasing. The penalty keeps increasing. But Mickey Harrison's it's all about winning, right? It's that's what matters. So he's willing to pay it. I think to me, and this is a guy who's been to the finals 3 times as an owner, right?
Yeah.
And won twice. The Thunder have been there once, and after one showing, because James Harden did not play well in the finals.
No.
I think that's what they're basing it on. and they weren't sure. I don't think any of us knew James Harden would be this good, right? Like, we knew he'd be good. We knew he'd be an all-star. We knew he could be a number one guy. Did we know he could be a number one guy of a championship team? That's a different thing. That's a different level.
Yeah.
He's shown that he can be a fourth quarter closer, right? Because he's never really had to really do that consistently.
Yeah, but we also knew he was never going to be that guy on the Thunder with Durant. Durant was that guy, and I guess at that point you're like, well, if we need someone else, it's going to be Russell.
But however, this is what I'm saying. It doesn't mean he doesn't have great value on your team.
Of course not.
Just because he's not that role. He can be so many other roles. Yeah. James Harden can be so many things.
Yeah.
To me, he's best as a playmaking slasher.
Yeah,
that's what he's best at. And he's shown he could be great on the fast break. Look at that team as a fast break. Russell, Durant, and Harden.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Or any two of the three. Or even if, you know what? If you have to rest Russell and Durant, I'm okay with Harden taking over for, like, a good 5 minutes of the game.
I agree.
Like, so to me, I'd bite the bullet. I'd give him what he's worth. I wouldn't lowball him. Because, like, this was the rumor. He ends up getting 5-year, $80 million, which is the max you can make at that time. I think they offered him 5-year, 58 or 5-year, 62. He's worth more than that. We all knew that. Yes, you have to take a pay cut. But are you taking that huge of a pay cut when you're making less than Ibaka? Like, to me, I offer him 5 years, 70. I'd be like, look, just take $10 million less, but we're giving you $70 million for 5 years, right? Durant took a little bit less, Russell took a little less, Ibaka took a little less. Just like you take, I would bite the bullet on that.
Right.
So there's already this huge, like asset that's gone. Mm-hmm. So that I just want to get that out of the way. So to this situation, if you trade Russell or Ibaka, because you're not trading Durant.
Yeah.
You're trading two of the top 3 guys on your team, potentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to consider Ibaka more important than Harden, I don't know, right? Like, there's that debate. You can go back and forth at that time. Man, I don't know that I'm confident. Like, first of all, the fans would hate it, right? Second of all, what can you get? There's no equal value, right? You could only really get draft picks that, like, can continue on, but I don't think Durant is interested in that, right? Because you got to think about Durant. Durant wants to win now.
Of course.
He's tired of not winning. You take away Russell Westbrook or Ibaka, you think Durant would be happy about that? I don't think so. I don't think he'd be happy about that.
I doubt it, but I don't know.
Who can you get for Russell? Can you get Steph Curry?
For Russell Westbrook?
I think you could, but 100%. I don't think they would do it. I don't think the Warriors would do it.
I would bet you that the Warriors would probably do it.
They think about it, but would they do it?
I bet you that they would. I feel like they would do it.
Look, like, my point is, if you're not getting a Steph Curry, or you're not getting at least like a Rondo or John Wall or somebody, I don't know how you could trade that guy in his prime. The only reason I would is injury problems. Like
but then he's not in in his prime anymore, and he has no real value. No. His only value is because of those, right?
What if the Thunder know something the rest of the league doesn't? Like, hey, he's playing really well while he's still healthy. Trade him before it gets unhealthy, like a Derrick Rose situation, right? So, I think let's say he's healthy. Let's assume he's healthy, right? Yeah. Unless I'm getting a Steph Curry or at worst like a Rondo, John Wall. I don't know how I'm going to trade him because who's going to be your point guard? Reggie Jackson. Now, Reggie Jackson has to take on more responsibility. Well, who's backing up Reggie Jackson?
Whoever you traded Westbrook for would ultimately be. I'm guessing you would get.
Well, that's assuming you're getting a point guard. I'm
imagining you wouldn't get like, even if you didn't get like a Steph Curry in the trade, you would still get some kind of point guard back.
But is that point guard going to be the starting point guard of a championship team?
Maybe not. Maybe yes, depending on on who you get. That kind of alters everything, right? But okay. So you probably don't trade Russell Westbrook.
This is what I say. Yeah. I say that I would want, to me, if I'm in charge, and obviously this goes against like what Russell has been learning, and I'm not a big fan of this because it's happened to the Raptors. Is that I think if I were in charge for the last 5-6 years and had to see Russell's from rookie year to now, I wanted him to be a shooting guard. Yeah. I would love him as a shooting guard. I think he works well as a shooting guard. I don't think you need to be a 6'6" shooting guard to be a good shooting guard in this league now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many great shooting guards there are in this league. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me Russell Westbrook can't go up against a Harden? Is Harden defending Russell Westbrook? I don't think so.
It's a good matchup, but it's like you're saying.
I'm saying you're not losing that much. To me, the point guard position is not just about talent.
Yeah.
It's about decision making.
Yeah.
It's about
IQ.
discipline. Right? It's about IQ, about what's right. That's why Kyle Lowry has been so much better this year. He has the discipline. He still takes his bad shots sometimes, but he's not like playing out of control. He's playing. He's really running the team. You can say the same thing about John Wall. John Wall's really running the team. Like, you need somebody who has some discipline where I'm not going to take this bad shot. Because if there's one guy on the court that doesn't take bad shot or shouldn't, it should be the point guard.
Yeah.
Right? It should be the point guard. When your point guard takes bad shots, you're in trouble. That's why I think the Pistons won, because Billups learned this. Right? He learned to not take certain bad shots.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the point guard is a decision maker. So if you had, let's say, I don't know, who's a good point guard? I'm trying to think of like an average point guard.
An average
point guard that you know is a good point guard.
That's just a good point guard, but not a great point guard.
Yeah, that you can put into the Thunder.
Okay. What about like Calderon?
Yeah. Okay. Perfect example. You put Calderon as a point guard into Thunder, and you move Russell's shooting guard.
Yeah.
Is that bad of a move? I think that's a positive, because then you have the ball's in the hands of a guy who will pass the ball and make the right plays.
Okay.
Now, Russell has a lot of assists. I'll give him credit for that. He's learned to do it. His passing is much better. But it's not just that you can pass, it's when you make the passes.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I've seen too many games of him where he's taking threes, pull-up threes. Why is Russell Westbrook taking pull-up threes?
Yeah.
Why? He's not Steph Curry.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
And he's not Kevin Durant.
He's not even James Harden shooting threes. He'll make 30. I think he was like 33% of his threes, which is not bad. Not bad, but not.
It's not a guy you want to be taking your.
I think the league average is like 35%.
Yeah.
So he's like slightly below average. It's still better than DeRozan.
Yeah.
You know, but as late in the playoffs, you know, in the finals, every possession is so key. You know, every bad shot you take is an opportunity lost. And I think if he's a shooting guard, awesome. Just let him run buck wild. Let him think he's an alpha dog. But I want my point guard to be in control of the team, right?
Yeah.
Even let Durant be the point guard. You know, let him run the plays a little bit, because what are they going to do? They'll trap him. Okay, then throw it to so many guys. And this is where I think that offensive system should be more evolved for the Thunder.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a real open style scheme there. Man.
So, but that's my point. Like, you put a Calderon, you put let's say you put Andre Miller. Let's just say he's there for 1 year to try to win. I like the way he runs the team better than Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, it's
not about talent. It's about who's going to be your smartest guy. The point guard should be your smartest player. Yeah. I think the why Raptors have been good is because Kyle Lowry is our smartest player. And he's always been our smartest player. And he's just disciplined now. More disciplined. So, to me, I wouldn't trade Russell. I wouldn't trade Ibaka. I wouldn't trade Durant. Because you're not going to get equal value. Maybe Ibaka. But I'd really like to see who I would get for Ibaka. And I don't know. You're giving up the leading shot blocker in the league pretty much for who you're going to get. Yeah. I don't know. And he can space the floor, and he's solid for them. They have that chemistry.
Not to mention still as well, in terms of getting rid of Ibaka, is that you chose him over Harden. So
yeah, so you pretty much have to keep him.
You can't. Yeah,
it's a lot more difficult. To keep him. Mm-hmm. So what I would do, I would change everybody else, and I think about changing the coach. That's me.
That's what I'm. So
that's what I'm.
What I was going to surmise from what you're saying is basically you're saying, well, the Thunder should fire Scott Brooks and then see what's what. Try to see how much another coach would make a difference. And then I guess obviously, would you amnesty Perkins? I think that's a done.
I would.
I think that the teams with the amnesty, the Bulls and I don't know who else has it, but I know the Bulls and the Thunder do. I would definitely be using those amnesties on Boozer and Perkins this offseason for sure. Because how much is Perkins making? $10 million?
10, 11 million.
That's where you can improve your team. You can bring in even an average center, and try to get something else back with that.
But I think
with what you'd spend.
Like I said, if Russell is going to be the point guard, which he's going to be the point guard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as much as I wanted to shift over shooting guard. And sometimes, I think, when they have Reggie Jackson and Russell Westbrook and Durant, that's an explosive team.
Yeah.
Like it's just an explosive team. You know, Reggie Jackson's a really good athlete. He ain't Russell Westbrook level, but he's a really good athlete. Mm-hmm. You know, so and Reggie Jackson's been able to hit that three and run plays too. So his growth has been really key to the Thunder. I think when you put somebody else at the point guard and Russell doesn't have to have the responsibility of being a playmaker and be a decision maker, I think that's something he had to really work at and learn. It doesn't come naturally to him. I think he's better. What comes naturally, him scoring to me, is dominating. And as a shooting guard, he can do that. Because like I said, if you go through all the teams in the West, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Rockets, the Spurs, is there any shooting guard I'm like, oh man, Russell's screwed? No, not one. No. Like if he had to go against Ginobili, Danny Green, yeah, they're having a tough night. If you have to go against Harden, he's having a tough night. Or Francisco Garcia, or whatever, right? If he's going up against Klay Thompson, he's having a tough night. If he's going up like anybody,
Redick, he would torture.
The only guy I would really, really want to see him guard Russell Westbrook is Tony Allen. I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, that'd probably be good.
But that's it. But like Tony Allen can't play offense, so Russell gets to rest. You know, and he can play free safety almost.
Yeah, and
he could do that. So, look, Russell's going to be a point guard, and because he's going to be a point guard, I want an offensive system in.
Right.
Like a Spurs situation where, Tony Parker isn't like a lead guard in the traditional sense. What he does, like, I don't know, you watch, like, basically, I see him, I love that he does this. Like, he'll bring the ball up or he'll pass it up. Then he'll run across like 3 or 4 different back screens and then get the ball. And if they trap him, he'll pass it again and run through some screens and get the ball again. Then he'll drive. So the Spurs will always have the discipline to go through their first play, doesn't work. Second play, doesn't work. Third play, doesn't work. Fourth play.
Yeah.
Russell doesn't do that as much. Maybe he'll pass up the first one, and by the second time or third time he gets it, he's definitely shooting.
He doesn't drive and kick so well.
No, he's like, the first option available is what I'm going for. Whereas the Spurs like, okay, you got a good shot, giving up for a great shot. Giving up a great shot for the best shot.
Yeah, but that's the Spurs. They're almost academic.
So, like I said, I would want a system in.
Yeah.
And the only way you get that is by a coach.
Okay.
So
that's your answer is get rid of Scott Brooks and bring in.
I don't think he's a bad coach. I just don't think he's that great.
Right. I would agree with that as well.
I think defensively he's pretty good.
That wasn't he even just originally just an assistant coach? Like not even that heralded. He was an interim coach. They brought him in. He did kind of well. Maybe did he replace PJ Carlesimo? Something like that.
Yeah.
Right. If not, but like
something like that.
I guess then that falls on the coach. Then
I think he was great as a coach to grow a young team.
Yeah.
But I think once you hit that level of where you're expected to win a championship, it takes a different.
Do you feel like Frank Vogel might be in that spot as well with the Pacers?
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I would never have said that. Last year, wouldn't have said that.
But maybe they've just.
They've struggled so much offensively. It's just they're so bad offensively. Like they are averaging like 80 something points or something, and like. You look at the Raptors, we're not even that great of an offensive team. We at least average like 98 points or something. I don't know, something like that. Like the Pacers, I don't know. A lot of that is on Vogel. But I think they also just need a real point guard. Right. That isn't CJ Watson. Or George Hill. George Hill, I've never really considered a pure point guard. But
no.
I think he worked a lot better on the Spurs because it's that dribble handoff stuff. It's the system, right?
Yeah. So what coach would you attempt to bring in?
Oh man!
What coach would go best with what you've got there?
Because I want to see what they do in the playoffs because the playoffs kind of determine how well you can make adjustments.
Okay, I'll throw a name out there. There's been a lot of talk. There's not saying that this is going to happen or would be realistic, but let's say Mark Jackson becomes available because there's been a lot of stuff with him and the assistants recently. Would you think Mark Jackson would be a good coach for the Thunder?
I think he'd be good, but I don't know if I would fire Scott Brooks for him. Right. I'm not sure I would fire Frank Vogel for Mark Jackson.
Right.
He's improved enough.
No, but we're already saying now this is existing in a reality where the Thunder have lost again in the playoffs, right?
Right.
So as your management, you're the
as
management, you're Sam Presti. You've said, well, we're not going to trade Ibaka and we're not going to trade.
Right. We're not going to trade the core.
We're not going to trade anyone from our core. well, what are we going to do? This is another season where the result is going to be the same. You're saying, well, you want to put in a coach with the system because Scott Brooks' system maybe is not effective, or it hasn't been effective in terms of getting them past.
I wouldn't fire him for Mark Jackson.
Okay,
I would fire him for like a Jerry Sloan.
But you're not really you're not necessarily firing him for that. You wouldn't have.
Well, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you be if you're firing him for whoever you replace him with, right?
I don't know. I think at that point you're firing Scott Brooks because he's the scapegoat for the team not doing well, because you've already said it's nobody in our core. Our core is not the problem. The problem is our coach.
Right.
So if the problem is the coach, we have to take out this coach and bring in another one. With I wouldn't necessarily expect them to have an immediate plan going, other than the fact that, well, what we've done so far might not be the answer. And maybe this is becoming like a situation with, like Mike Brown with the Cavaliers, right?
Right.
Where it's just, well, how come?
Well, he's better than Mike Brown.
I think he's better. I don't think Mike Brown's very good, but it's like, well, this guy is bringing us all this success. How can we justifiably fire him? And then it became, well, how can we? This year after year, the same sort of thing, right?
Right.
And not to say that I think Mark Jackson comes in and coaches the Thunder and
because I don't. Because I don't.
I probably don't. But it seems like he has some kind of offensive system in mind that would be different than the one that they currently have in place.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's got to be a very high-regarded coach.
Right.
Like, I'm not even sure Nate McMillan I would rather have. And I like Nate McMillan.
Yeah, I know.
I like Alvin Gentry. I I think Mo Cheeks deserved a better shot than Detroit.
Yeah.
Maybe. To me, like, Mark Jackson would be more of a lateral move, which might work, which probably won't, though, to me.
Yeah.
So I think stability is really important. I'm like, I'd rather keep my stability in chemistry and take my chances there and make tweaks and internal growth rather than big change.
Right.
Like, big changes. Like, you change your coach, that's a big change. Mm-hmm.
It's a big change, but I don't know that these are. I don't know what are you going to do to get results. What are you going to do to separate yourself from, like, what tweaks would you make? What players would you say what's lacking on the Thunder then? That's my question.
To me, the system is lacking.
Yeah.
Offensive
so that means
system.
You have to get in. You have to bring in a different coach.
Yeah.
You have to.
I'm just saying it's not going to be Mark Jackson for me.
Okay, fine. I mean, look, Mark Jackson is not my choice of head coach. He was just basically a coach that I saw had a kind of fit what you were saying, that he's a youngish coach. He definitely has player experience. That he came in and was seemingly able to implement some kind of offensive system to the point where the Warriors have had success with his coaching.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it would be a different sort of style for sure than what Brooks has brought to the table thus far. Not saying you have to take Mark Jackson, but if this is your move, this is the move that you're making. This is your move to say, this is why our team is going to be different this year. This is why we're not going to lose in this round of the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that because of the fact that I think there's not a huge that there is a huge disparity in coaching, that the great coaches are great for a reason, and that's why they're tough to get. And then there's a bunch of really average coaches.
Yep.
I don't know what system or what coach you bring in there that would ultimately make them better, which is why I think it sucks, but ultimately it would probably mean that if I were the GM, I would have to make like full changes with the team.
The roster, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't like the idea of trading, an Ibaka or a Westbrook. But realistically, you're not trading Kevin Durant, and everybody else on your team, the Reggie Jacksons and the Jeremy Lambs, these guys, they have value, right? The Adams, they have value, but you're not really sure what actual value they have.
Right.
So you can't trade them because you're not going to get what you want for them. It's better to just allow them to sit and play rather than trying to sell them. So you got to see. So then the answer is Ibaka or Westbrook.
Well, here's the thing, right? You got to remember this. These guys' contract come up soon, right? Especially Durant and Russell. Do you trade one of those two guys and still think Durant will re-sign?
Well, assume you're not going to trade. You're not going to blow it up. You're not going to blow it up for draft picks,
right?
Because you don't do that when you have a superstar on your team. There's no rebuilding when you have a superstar. So what do? You try to make a move with Westbrook, that would make sense. You try to target a player that's going to be different. You're not going to try to trade for Brandon Jennings or Monta Ellis.
Right.
Right. You want someone that's going to be able to complement Durant well, and I think that when they were drafting Westbrook, and even all along, it was more so like you said, this guy is so good, he has so much potential that we have to have him on our team. And now, because it's now the 2014 offseason and we've seen that they've lost in the playoffs again, we're saying, well, as good as he is, maybe that's just not what makes a championship team. Maybe the combination just doesn't work. And at that point, maybe you try to trade him for someone like, maybe you say to the Kings, hey, Booby Cousins, he's a really good,
Oh, interesting.
He's a good forward. He's kind of mercurial. We would be willing to give you Russell Westbrook. He can be the face of your franchise. Would you want to do something like that? Now, if I am both the GM of both of those teams, I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? This maybe not be the worst trade possible.
So you're not trying to trade for Rudy Gay? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I mean, metrically speaking, he might be the perfect. He's like a shittier Russell Westbrook at this point.
Okay. Well, we're kind of going a little over time, but so I guess we somewhat disagree. You're changing the roster. I'm changing the coaching staff.
I would like to be able to make an argument for Kevin Durant to be one. I would like there to actually be an argument of him versus LeBron, other than it being more like, well, being like a hipster, like, oh no, Durant is cooler because nobody really knows him, but he's putting up just as good numbers, right?
Right.
But I feel like him and Russell Westbrook have not shown that they can win a championship together, just in the way that their style play.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Right. So if that's the case, then I would make some changes. I would see what I can do.
I just think that you've already made a mistake in letting Harden go.
Yeah.
And he was like the wrong guy to let go. I don't know if you coupled that with another. To me, it'd be another mistake to let Russell go at this point, because their contracts are up in like a year or 2 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think the long-term goal here is to keep, for sure, Durant. Russell is, I guess, debatable, and I'd like to keep him too.
Okay.
I just would love to work a way out to get the two to work together. Because you think about it, I always say this: if Shaq and Kobe stayed together, they probably would have won 6. Because there could have been that transition where Shaq becomes the number 2 guy, Kobe becomes the number 1 guy, and they still win.
Yep.
Phil's still the coach. How do you lose? Right? If Dwayne Wade could win with the older Shaq, Kobe can't. Kobe couldn't at that point. Like, I just felt like I would do everything in my power to get those two to work together. Yeah. Now, obviously, those two hated each other, and they won 3, and should have won 4 at least.
Right. But where does it get?
So Russell and Durant,
yeah, but where does it get to that point? Like, where does it get to the point with those guys? We're talking about another year of them doing poorly, not exceeding expectations. I mean, in this scenario as well, we're saying that they don't even make it to the finals. They lose in the conference finals, which you and I both agree, that's not out of the realm of possibility. They definitely could do that.
Well, okay, let's say they make it to the finals and lose.
Yeah.
Then what?
I would. Maybe you could put it off for a year, but it seems like it. Yeah, I guess it's all dependent. If they make the finals, then I guess you can maybe put it off. If they don't, I really feel like you have to start making changes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's wrap this segment up, and we'll just somewhat agree to disagree on this.
Okay. Cool.
We'll be back.